What's going on? Welcome to View the Right Thing, and Kevin Durant has requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets, which officially signals the end of the super team created by him, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden just 3 years after it was formed. To say that this unit underachieved is an understatement. The Durant, Harden, and Irving super team only played 38 games together and never made it out of the first round in the playoffs, a far cry from the expectation that three surefire Hall of Famers built when they all first came together. It's obvious that this flop is of historic proportions, but just how historic? Some people are even asking if this is the biggest super team failure of all time, which I think is a good question. So today, we're going to take a look through the NBA's history for context to answer just one question. Are KD's Brooklyn Nets the biggest super team flop of all time? Now, failed super team is a tale as old as time in a star-centered league, and there's not as many that rise to the magnitude of the Brooklyn saga, but I can think of two that might fit the bill. The first is the 96-97 Houston Rockets. So, that year, just 3 years off the NBA MVP and leading the Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals, Charles Barkley was unsatisfied, and he got himself traded to Houston. There, he added his Hall of Fame career to the versatile Hall of Famer Clyde Drexler and the amazing Hall of Famer Hakeem Olajuwon. And that Houston team was already legit, coming off of back-to-back titles, and while they traded away some of their depth, Barkley was still playing at an all-star level. And apparently so were the rest of the Rockets, as he, Hakeem, Clyde Drexler, and their coach, Rudy Tomjanovich, all made the team. With that much talent, it was hard to shake the feeling that this finally was a team that could actually compete with the vaunted Chicago Bulls. But that year, due to age and injuries, the squad was the definition of mediocre, going just 41-41 in the regular season and getting sent to the Shadow Realm in the playoffs. This team was a historic failure for two reasons. The first is talent. They had three of the most unique skill sets that the league has ever seen and came up with nothing to show for it. Secondly, because this might be the first time we actually saw a super team created in the modern sense of the word. Basically, nobody did what Barkley did in '96, which was demand a trade, pick a destination, and actually have the request granted. He did, and the ultimate result of all of those efforts was just more fodder for the unbeatable Bulls, which is the only thing that takes some of the sting out of this flop. And in fact, I can think of one even worse, the 1969-70 Los Angeles Lakers. That 69 Lakers roster reads like a potential NBA Mount Rushmore itself. It had all NBA all the time Elgin Baylor, the guy who scored 100 points in a game one time, and Jerry West on it, which is to say that it was stacked, and they played like it too. They ended the year second in wins, which was enough to finally get home field advantage against their hated rivals, the Boston Celtics, for the very first time. And this wasn't your granddaddy's Boston either, or maybe it was because this Boston team was super old. Because of that, the Celtics, led by an ancient Bill Russell, were heavy underdogs to the star-studded Lakers. But when the smoke cleared, despite Jerry West averaging nearly 38 points a game and earning Finals MVP, the Celtics pulled off one of the greatest upsets in NBA history. This was an upset for the books because not only were the Lakers the first team to ever lose a Game 7 at home in the finals, but Jerry West's final MVP is still the only time the award was ever given to a player on the losing team. So yeah, that team had an Elgin, a stilt, and a logo, and it still met with defeat. And that's why I consider it to be the biggest super team flop of all time, until now. Because the 2021-22 Brooklyn Nets now occupy that slot for me. And what vaults the Brooklyn situation above the other two is the fact that while the Houston Rockets had to battle injuries and drama, their big three cobbled together more than 58 total games together in 3 seasons. And yeah, the Lakers got upset, but the fact that that loss shocked the world was a testament to just how good they were, not the opposite. The reason that this is worse is because Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving really have no one else to blame for this ineptitude. KD left the Golden State Warriors for the very same reason that Kyrie left the Celtics, to prove that they could win a title their way. And while the two teams that they left made their way to the finals, Kyrie's way led to missed games and controversy. Harden made his way to Philly, and now KD's way apparently leads to Phoenix or Miami. And for a guy who's focused on what building a winner around himself can do for his legacy, choosing the two teams who ended up in first in their conferences last year is interesting. But that's not to say that KD isn't talented. He's no less than a top 3 player in the league, and Kyrie's highlights can actually speak for themselves. But like I said with the Lakers earlier, their obvious potential for greatness is exactly what sets this as the biggest super team failure in NBA history. Thanks for watching View the Right Thing. If you dig the vibe, hit the subscribe to join the tribe. Peace.